This time, we're heading to Omeo, in Victoria's high country. The landscape is wild and rugged, like some of the locals.
Come on, tell me exactly why you're called Hardhead.
Look, I've been smacked about the head so many times I just forget.
When gold was discovered here in 1851, miners rushed in. Omeo's goldfields quickly became some of the roughest in Australia. These days, it's a more peaceful place. But Omeo still has its fair share of larrikins.
Every circus has got to have a clown.
Omeo is isolated, and bushfires are a very real part of life. The January 2020 fires came dangerously close. You need passion to farm these open plains and people you can rely on.
Do you two speak for each other as well?
Sometimes. We spend a lot of time together. Can you tell?
I can tell.
Omeo's mountain cattlemen and horsemen have always been the stuff of legend. But just as impressive are the lesser-known women of the high country who lean on each other in tough times.
They are awesome. Yeah, backbone of the community.
I've heard there's a changing of the guard up here, and they aim high.
You can say that there's been an Olympics opening ceremony. Ooh, us.
I'm keen to meet this new breed who are taking the reins.
So, Jill, what do you get up to around here?
I'm a full-time farmer, and we have sheep and beef, and I farm with my mum on the family farm.
And it goes back a long way, does it?
Well, Dad came, he was from Melbourne, so he came up as a jackaroo, but Mum's like fourth or fifth generation in the area, so.
It's such an historic old town, isn't it?
Oh, there's great history in the buildings and the township, and there's been fires come through, and it's a very resilient community with lots of families that have been here for a long time, and started with some gold mining and farming, and it's got a very rich history.
So where are we off to now, Jill?
To the Omeo show.
I love a good show.
Yeah, there's Easter, Christmas and the Omeo show for us, so it's pretty exciting for the kids, and they get right into it.
Omeo's show has been going for 135 years. It's big on agriculture and tradition. There are no rides for the kids. The action is in the arena.
Congratulations to the two winners.
Look at all this.
Hi, ladies.
Mother and daughter, Noleen and Belinda Smith, run the show's charity wool bale.
Thank you.
The event raises money for the area's air ambulance, the Helimed chopper. It's landed at Noleen's twice, when her husband was badly injured by a steer and when their other daughter was in a serious quad bike accident.
Just to see that Helimed come over the hill and land there in the paddock, you knew that she was in good hands then. It's really, really worth every cent, I think.
Morning.
Morning, Ken.
I got 3 fleeces here.
You got 3?
Local farmers donate their best fleeces,
Nowhere near as good as the one we had last year.
which are all pressed into one huge bale
She's right in the middle. Go 4-7.
and later auctioned in Melbourne.
We've raised just close to 50,000 over the last 4 years, so I think it'll, everyone's just that keen to support it. It's really great.
Good yield.
And even with the season we're having, it's very testing time with the drought, but, the fleeces are still rolling in.
Righto, so this one, the quick here, this is the first of the final. They start on the back leg.
Belinda is a highly sought-after wool classer in the district.
Yeah, well, my nan used to tell me, why would you want to do that? That's a men's job. But then I realised that my grandfather was a wool classer, and my other grandfather was a wood chopper. So I was kind of involved in it right from the beginning, and it gradually snowballed into my whole life.
Belinda and her mum were teaming up long before the charity wool bale.
Mum used to put me in the tiny top competition. The puffy sleeves and the little lace socks and the little black shoes all done up and the hat.
So how did you go in the tiny tots competition?
I did win, so Mum must have knew what she was doing.
And what do you love about the show?
So it brings everyone together and gives them something to look forward to other than just being on the farm all day. Everyone needs that when it's a bit drier up here.
While Belinda is part of the new breed, Jim Flanagan and Bert Sam are members of the old guard. They were both born in Omeo and are respected high countrymen.
There must be a story to this. Why do they call you Hardhead?
Look, I've been smacked about the head so many times I just forget.
Hardhead, or Hardy for short, was the pickup rider for Omeo's rodeo, helping competitors safely off their bucking animals. It was a highly skilled and dangerous job Hardy did as a volunteer for 55 years. He only gave it away at the age of 77.
So how old are you now?
87. 87, must be 10 years. Golly, the time flies, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah.
Hardy gave this interview in 1969 about the best way to round up Brumbies.
There's a big thrust towards the finish-up. You see all these boys converging in, and we usually hope there's about 20 at least, horses going into this funnel up into that yard. And there's a big cloud of dust and the boys pulling up horses and saying, look at them, these are beauties, we'll have some fun at this rodeo.
That was 50 years ago, and Hardy's love of horses and the high country has kept him here. He's seen so much change in Omeo. He remembers when the town's sawmill and picture theatre closed. But there's some progress Hardy fully supports.
The lady's job was to look after the home and the kids. But nowadays you see them out in the field in the tractors. They'll be out mowing hay, they'll be making hay, they'll be cultivating. They'll be helping the farmer with his sheep drenching and drafting sheep and so on.
This couldn't be any more obvious than at the show itself.
It's a lovely day for it, isn't it?
A woman is president of the show committee in what was once firmly male territory. There is a strength to the men and women up here that you don't see everywhere. Some are also a little bit wild at heart, with a rebellious streak.
There we go.
Omeo's colourful Deputy Mayor, Ben Buckley, has spent the past 6 months weaving this tug-of-war rope.
Now see if me and Sonny can break this. Go, boom, 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 boom. It won't break.
It's made out of teabag strings, about 6,000 of them.
So there you are, that's how it is. All these tea bags plaited together.
So I've got to ask the obvious question here. Why teabag strings?
I was left with quite a few tea bags. So I started fiddling with them and joining them together and, we'll do this and do that and plaiting them. And then it's one thing led to another and here we are. We've got it. This might go viral.
It could.
If these fellas here can break that rope, I'll give them $5 each.
Today's challenge, involving shearers, footballers and teabags, doesn't really fit with this region's Wild West reputation of the past. But it is good fun.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, pull!
The teabag rope didn't break, and Ben kept his money in his wallet. Teabags aside, Ben's famous in these parts for his antics in the air.
And this is your plane?
Oh, this is one of them. I've still got two.
His hangar is right beside his house, in the nearby town of Benambra. Ben's always been a daredevil. He's crashed his plane twice and has been arrested for flying under a bridge over the Snowy River.
There were several, if you like, to take your pick, but like I said before...
Several bridges. This is getting worse.
Now, we won't go any further with that, if you don't mind. And
Ben got into big trouble when he agreed to do this stunt for a TV show, dousing a local football team in imitation fertiliser. But to many, Ben is a hero. Back in the 60s, Ben and a mate were the first in Australia to drop retardant on a bushfire from the air. A now widely used tactic for fighting fires.
it was just a lightning strike. And these little planes we had at the time, they were ideal for that. They were like a repeating rifle. We carried about 150 gallons of retardant. And if there was a tree on fire, like from a lightning strike, we could have several goes at it.
Oh, my goodness.
There you are.
You got a bit of stuff in here, Ben.
Yeah.
Enough planes there?
My kids call it junk.
The walls inside Ben's house are covered with messages from friends and the local police.
I'm here to pinch the legendary Ben Buckley. That's in 9. See, he's got his handcuffs and his gun.
So this is like your visitor's book, really?
It is.
Oh,
You describe that as a visitor's book.
Ben's achieved a lot for his area and had fun doing it.
Oh, and here's one I kept. I did a flight to New Zealand.
But he reckons it's the women who have really kept the community going.
Well, it might have been in the background, but we couldn't have done without them, that's for sure. And, well, those days are gone forever. Like, you know, it's... The best thing about the good old days is that they're gone. In my view, you know, we've got heaps to look forward to.
One of those impressive women Ben's talking about is Jill Hill, who brought me into town. Her farm is just up the road.
Here you go, guys. Come on.
After her dad died in 2018, Jill left her job as a physio to farm full-time with her mum, Alison.
Who's got the turbo? One's a turbo. You have, George, I think.
Mum and I get along well, so it's easy to work together.
Yes, and she's good enough. She lets me go on holidays.
Oh, that's handy.
There you go.
Come on, out here.
Jill's husband is a teacher and her young sons go to school in Omeo. So most of the time, the farm is an all-female operation.
Somebody get the gate.
I think the people here are the women, are very stoic and community-minded, and that we have a very strong sense of community, and everyone's very supportive of one another.
Yes, Mum's always been good at focusing on the future, you know, like what's next and looking forward, so that's something that I take with me as well.
What do the blokes around here think about how you're going?
Don't ask, I don't know. They're very supportive, no, they're very good, and we feel like we can ring up and ask questions about whatever we're not sure of, which is nice to have that support in the community.
One of their neighbours is Vince Pendergast.
Yeah, still got a week to go yet. So.
This road runs down the middle of their two properties.
Again, thinking about waiting for it to rain, and then I'll put some lucerne in after that, like for next year for some hay.
Up here, the old and the new guard share information and work together. Vince says Jill has plenty of new ideas.
No, she's very, very efficient and likes it, enjoys it.
And what do you think of the mother and daughter team, two women running the show?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, so they do a really good job.
In times of crisis, like droughts and bushfires, the women here have bravely rallied to help. Before I leave Benambra, I want to meet two sisters whose courage is being tested.
Ready? Go. That's when you're naughty.
Tahnee and Alessia Sievers are true horse women of the high country. Tahnee featured in a documentary when she was in her early 20s.
The snow on the mountaintops is a metre thick. Perfect conditions for the task at hand.
The sisters grew up in this rugged valley with its harsh winters.
So this is the hard one. This is the Queensland crossover. The butterfly. So I started when I was 10 and Tahnee started when she was 14. But Tahnee picked it up better than me. Tasmanian cutback, because I was younger, I suppose. But just good, clean sport, isn't it?
Word spread about their whip-cracking talents, and these country girls from this remote little town were propelled onto the world stage. Tahnee and Alessia performed in the opening ceremony of the Sydney Olympics in front of 100,000 people in the stadium and a TV audience of billions.
Cost Mum and Dad quite a bit of money back then. We travelled up there for 6 months, pretty much missed a lot of school, but it was definitely worth it. Who can say that they've been in the Olympics opening ceremony? Ooh, us. Pretty good, whip cracking.
All the way from Benambra?
Yeah, little town of Benambra. Oh.
After the high of the Olympics came a cruel blow. Tahnee was diagnosed with motor neurone disease. Now aged 39, she can no longer walk and finds it hard to speak.
I'll do it and then you have a go. Ready? Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb.
It brings the sisters some joy that their 7-year-old relative, Sylvia, wants to follow in their tracks.
Hey!
Hey!
I used to love watching the people who crack whips.
And now you're getting to do it yourself.
Yes.
What do you love about the sound it makes?
I like when it goes crack. And it sounds nice, and then it goes off into the distance.
Tahnee has been able to stay in her own home.
Yeah, no, we're best mates. We do everything together now.
She's hired a full-time carer, Mark Hems, who arrived in Benambra 2 years ago. But it's not just Mark who looks after Tahnee. A whole team of local women are also devoted to her care. They've set up a roster and visit in pairs.
A lot of the women in town come out Fridays and Saturdays and Sunday mornings and get Tahnee brekkie and everything and chip in, which is really good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
Well, Alicia's one of them.
Yeah, they call them the weekend warriors. So, yeah, it's a part of the community and everyone helps on the weekends and it's good. Gives Mark a bit of a break and, yeah, it's great. And Tahnee gets to see everyone.
Yeah.
Tahnee has prepared something she'd like read out on her behalf.
I'm very lucky to have M&D because I am surrounded by beautiful, kind, positive people who I have a deep connection with. These special people have given me the most precious thing in life, time. I have such little time left, and those people whom give me their time that they spend away from their families. And I think that's extremely generous and I will be forever grateful.
That's good.
Well, I can see that you're all very close and you're all doing a fantastic job.
You're alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're alive with beautiful people around you.
Tahnee couldn't hope for a more caring community to live in. The wonderful weekend warrior women stepped up when they were needed. This area has always had impressive women, and I'm off now to meet a group of trailblazers in another little town not far from Omeo. I hear they love nothing more than getting together. Once a month, ladies' lunches are held at the Little River Inn, a beautiful old pub in Ensay, about a 30-minute drive from Omeo.
I think the first lunch we had, we might have had 5 or 6 ladies. Now we've blossomed.
I remember.
I think it just shows what a friendly bunch of girls we are.
We've had up to 17, 18 ladies, so yes, it can be noisy.
You know, it's good fun.
Some of these women have been friends for 60 years.
It's so important to have these gatherings because, you know, if someone's not well or if someone hasn't turned up and everyone checks on everyone, and so it's really important.
The Little River Inn was built in the 1840s and it holds the longest continuous hotel licence in Australia. The pub came very close to being lost in the January 2020 bushfires. And the publican they call Stretch is much loved.
Very talented ladies, very skilled ladies, and quite a lot of them are educated, whether they be kindergarten teachers or principals or bush nurse or postmistress or our farmers' wives.
Okay, ladies, anyone for chocolate cake?
And they don't always get the recognition they deserve, do they?
No, they don't. They don't. But they're probably a pretty humble lot when you think about it. Yeah, awesome people.
And what do you think of Stretch?
She's
exactly it in a bit.
She's just the right person to run this pub.
Thank you, Stretch.
These women say the main reason they're still in Ensay, enjoying these long lunches, is because of their bush nurse.
Well, to be able to stay in your own home and you're living alone You do need outside support. And we certainly have that from our bush nurse.
Yeah, you're pretty lucky about that, aren't you?
I think we are.
We are.
Hi Therese, how are you?
With no doctor in Ensay, the bush nurse, Therese Burke, does health checks and has come up with an exercise program to balance out the sponge cake.
Well, long may you lunch at the Ensay pub. I think it's a
Yes.
gree idea.
It is a great idea, yes.
You look like you'll be going a while to me.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, I notice you don't have any blokes at your lunch.
There's not many blokes around.
Well, we didn't...
Our age.
We didn't really ask them either.
I've loved returning to Victoria's high country. The people around Omeo are so full of spirit, with a real sense of fun. They know they live in a pretty remote but spectacular place, and they depend on each other when things get hard. And it's great to see the women up here are getting the recognition they deserve.
People just know how to support one another, and it's something that's survived from early on, I think, you know, when there were no communications or anything, and it's just continued on.
It seems to be in the blood, I think. It's instinct that brings you back to where you were born and bred, I think. I've heard of lots of people say that the homing pigeon claims them and brings them back.
I'm a mountain person versus the ocean, and I don't know, it's just home, I guess. It's everything. It's the cows, it's the sheep, it's the dogs, it's the people, it's family. I love it all.